the HomeTech Podcast for October 20th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, all sorts of fun stuff. It's getting to be that time of year. It's Halloween time. We're going to get some candy, some lights. I've been seeing some like insane Halloween decoration things on like TikTok mostly, YouTube. I'll put some links, I guess, in the show notes. There's a guy the other night that I was watching. He had a fire machine, 2 of them. He was spraying fire 10, 20 feet up in the air in front of his house for Halloween. And I'm like, I think you've made it next level. And then I watched his next video, and he had a 400-foot, what was the thing? The thing off of like Demigod thing or whatever it is off of Stranger Things. The bad guy, this bad guy from Stranger Things crawling over his house made out of drones, 400 feet or something crazy. I'm like, okay, when you start doing light shows with drones for your house, I think that's next level. That's out of my league.
Yeah, I can't compete. I'm just giving him the trophy. That's it.
You get the trophy. Yeah, you win.
Yeah. I'm just putting up a sign that says "Better Candy" over there.
He better give out the full-size bars.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool with my twinkly lights outside and my giant spider web, but I guess I got nothing on that guy.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I thought I was the cool guy in the neighborhood when I just gave out the mini O. Henrys, not the cheaper candies, like that was my sense of like a good house is like, hey, we got the little mini O. Henrys at this house. I did go and bought a bunch of Halloween candy, but it didn't last long, so I have to go buy a bunch more Halloween candy.
That tends to happen.
Yeah, it was on sale though, so it was a good part.
I've decided I was going to be the house with the full-size candy bars this year, being the first year in the house. So I've been stockpiling candy because supposedly we can get 200 to 300 kids in the neighborhood, depending on the weather of the place. So we'll see if this was a mistake or not.
Well, the amazing part, my neighborhood doesn't have many young kids in it, so we get maybe 20 kids on our street. But me and my neighbors sit out front with 2 big things of candy, which is, have a couple beers, enjoy some candy. We have the TV going, and every now and then a kid interrupts us.
Really a reason to drink, isn't it, Gavin?
Yeah,
or hang out by the fire.
Exactly, sounds about right. Yeah, as long as it doesn't rain.
Had to look up O. Henry candy bars. I've never heard of that one. Peanuts and caramel and chocolate. Right.
Man, it's like a combination of a Payday and a Snickers.
I am not a big candy person, believe it or not.
I don't think we have that down here. I've never heard of that.
Oh, are you serious? This is one of those things I'm just blown away because I grew up eating O. Henrys. Easter time they have the O. Henry Easter eggs, and those are like one of my favorite. And you probably have no clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. I don't think it's a thing in the United States. Or if it is, it's not in our region.
No.
Because I've never heard of this in Florida or Ohio.
O. Henry is an American candy bar. So
I've never seen it.
Their advertising team really sucks.
The eggs actually look pretty good.
They are.
I'm going to give you that one. And I can only...
in general, they all look pretty good.
Can only order them on Amazon.ca, so if that tells you anything. Walmart.ca, so I guess it...
Oh, yeah, it is a Hershey brand.
Well, I think everything is.
Well, that's true.
Are they in stock?
I don't know. Yeah, currently unavailable, so no. They're not
they only come out during Easter time, and it's very hard to find, so... Usually I have family instructed if they're in the store and they see it during Easter time to just buy the box. Like, don't leave any behind. Just buy the box, bring it home. They're my best friend.
That's how, what are the not so much like this time of year. I guess it's this time of year is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always good.
You can get the factory direct ones, like right off the shelf, right off the oven or whatever, like the super fresh ones. We've done that once. Like
they're still hot whenever they send them to you.
Well, yeah, they're just melted. No, it's like as fresh as they can be, I guess. And I tasted them, and they tasted just like the ones I normally buy at the store. So either I have a really good store that has good candy coming to it all the time, or I just have no taste buds. One of the 2.
I'm going to send you some O. Henry Easter eggs. I can't believe you guys haven't had this.
Yeah, only available in Canada as far as I can tell, Gavin. So
I did not
know that. Wow.
Because I did the same thing. I searched on their website for the locator. And it only comes with Walmart Canada or Real Canadian Superstore. So,
wow.
There you go.
Learn something new today. O. Henry is only available in Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Well, we'll have to check them out. Yeah. You have to find one of those stores that caters to Canadians and then and buy some O. Henrys while I'm there or something.
Actually, I'll be in Cincinnati next week, and there is a Jungle Gyms there, which is like a giant warehouse full of international foods. I'm going to go here and see if I can find it.
What if you don't find them? Will you buy other things?
Absolutely. It's one of those places like you could just find anything from like any country or region.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So if I don't find this, I'll find something else good.
Well, keep us updated. That's awesome. All right. Well, we actually do have a bunch of stories that popped up over the week here, and not just Home Assistant updates. It's kind of crazy, but we do have a few HomeTech headlines. So what do you guys say we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, Mazda. I'm going to laugh at this one all the way through. Mazda has issued a cease and desist letter to the open source contributor who maintains the library at Home Assistant. So they're saying stop using the Mazda connected services to basically I guess this must connect to cars and car manufacturers and whatever integrations they're doing with it. And I guess Home Assistant has basically removed that from the code, right? So a lot of people over in the forums are all upset about the hacked APIs not working anymore. But this is what happens when you don't have an API that's official, that's been released by a company, and you're kind of relying either on somebody patching it every time it changes, or the company coming along and saying, no, you don't get to do this anymore. It's no fun.
And this is just like a lot of integrations in Home Assistant, they don't use official, APIs or anything like that. And I'm looking at MyQ, for example, I just hope this doesn't set or give anybody else the idea that, hey, we should also do this, because Home Assistant's very popular because it integrates with basically everything. And sometimes those integrations are using hacked or, backdoor methods. And if they don't have all these integrations, one, it will probably just drive the integrations into the hacks environment, which is just, it's not really associated with Home Assistant. It's kind of like if Home Assistant can't do it legally, they'll throw it in hacks and let other people deal with it. That's the way I look at it. So more than likely you'll see this Mazda connected services integration go over to there so you can still use it. But if other companies decide to do this, this could hurt Home Assistant. And, it's their resources, they're not a big team. And if they got to be fighting, lawsuits and, doing all this extra stuff, it will slow down development.
Yeah, I thought about this whenever I got my van working through Home Assistant. So somebody supposedly found an unpublished API with Drone Mobile, and then they made that into a hacks where you were able to then add it to Home Assistant. And when I was adding it, I just had this exact same thought, like it could just disappear at any moment. Maybe not because they told them to remove it, but they would just remove the API at some point. So this is definitely a risk you take with this kind of thing when it's not like an officially sanctioned, integration.
Well, not just that, like with anything, even at work, when people come with certain scripts, and it's nice now, but at any time that developer could decide that they don't want to do it anymore, and nobody's there to take it over from them, and you could lose it, right? That happened to me when I was with Habitat. There were some community add-ons that I was reliant on, and the developer just walked away. So you got to be careful when you do things like that.
Yeah, and I guess it didn't help that Mazda used a DMCA takedown, which is a law we have here to protect copyright in the United States, and technically not exactly what they probably should have used, but it's one quick way to, like you said, get Home Assistant's notice. And what are they going to do? Fight it as a free open source software? Like, no, they're just going to take it off. And again, it'll go over to being in the hacks, kind of like off-brand thing. And now Mazda will have, like, they've swatted the main, head off what is the thing? Is it not Medusa? It's the
Hydra.
The dragon. Yeah, the Hydra. They've taken one head off, and now a million of them are going to pop up just because everybody's going to fork this thing and have the code for themselves. And it's not going to not work anymore. Like you said, it's just going to go underground. So one, Mazda could actually just release the API, but they probably won't because of their car company. But two, whatever integration this was probably wasn't well written and was hitting their servers quite a bit more than they thought it was going to be, causing them to have to pay a lot of money which they weren't expecting. So
at the end of the day, they probably don't really gain anything from this being available to people on Home Assistant either, right? It's probably maybe a couple hundred people using it. So it's not like somebody based their purchase off of this availability. If they were to remove it from like a larger platform or something that was more, I don't know, readily available or something to people, then maybe they'd be a little more upset about it. And it was officially sanctioned.
Yeah. What they need is an officially sanctioned thing that Mazda releases for this. Again, it's not probably a few hundred people. It's probably more than a few hundred, probably a few thousand, but they need to not have something that in the long run costs Mazda money on servers if it's inefficiently written or something like that. Because I've seen that before too, where you run like an API server and somebody writes an integration and all of a sudden it's hitting your server like way too much. Hopefully they will find a way to doing that. It would be nice if more of these car companies did offer an API. They're not very like Tesla is the technology car company, right? And I don't even think they have an API. I think they're hacked as well, right? There's not an official Tesla API for their cars.
I'm not rich enough to know, honestly.
I guess there is. There is something.
Yeah, there is. And it looks like it's locally based too.
They're seen as one of the more progressive car companies on the software side because they offer things like this. And yeah, their API is not as the public one. I know is the reason I was thinking they didn't have one because I know the public one isn't as much as what people want to get off their car. And so you do see some hacks from time to time where people go in and they hack whatever endpoint the app is looking at to get another extra command out of it or something like that. So interesting stuff. I hope that more, we just love APIs. We want to see more APIs, please.
Yeah, and it looks like for the Tesla, at least on Home Assistant right now, you can get the Powerwall integration and the wall connector integration. So I don't see one for the car, but I know people do integrate their Tesla with it. So
I thought there was something in there. Maybe not. Maybe it is hacked. All right. Like you said, not rich enough to care. And my Volkswagen from 2007 has no API whatsoever. All right. Another Home Assistant news here. The latest chapter of Home Assistant You're the Voice, which is this chapter 4, like John Wick, I guess. Wake words have been added to the platform. They're powered by a special system. What is this thing called? Open Wake Word? Yeah, Open Wake Word. And it offers real-world accuracy and can be trained for free in just 1 hour. Gavin, I know you're big on this. Have you been poking around and seeing what they're doing with this yet?
Yeah, this is very impressive. So, over the year as they've been working on this, we have a very passionate community over at Home Assistant, very passionate, where they'll kick people out of Facebook groups if you make one wrong comment, but they
TJ.
TJ. But
excuse me.
Since the beginning, the community was always, crying about wake words. We need wake words. We can't push a button. We need wake words. Of course they're working on wake words. Give them time, right? And ta-da. Here's the wake words. And it's actually impressive because it's not one wake word. They ship with a bunch of wake words. I'm very happy because Jarvis is one of them. You can say, hey, Jarvis, we're getting closer to getting our own Jarvis. And you can make your own wake words. So, that's a step above anything, right? So it's really impressive. You got to watch the demo videos. I don't know if you guys have seen the demo videos on their YouTube channel, but they have one guy who made a little droid from, was it Mandalorian or one of the shows? And it actually, when he calls it out, it actually wakes up and he gives it a command and it beeps and executes the command. It's really cool. Like it just shows, and he goes as far as going around the house as far away from his little microphone, and it picks him up really well, and it still works. I really like where they're going. I'm keeping an eye on this. I actually have it all set up in my Home Assistant, but I can't get the voice satellite set up yet. So I need a little microphone for my Arduino, my ESP board, to be able to then make it into a little satellite. But the way it works is basically that these little satellites are of like ESP boards. You can throw them anywhere, and they're just constantly streaming to Home Assistant. And then Home Assistant's processing the audio and then hearing for the wake word and then issuing the wake up and everything, right? So you could set it up to do things like when it detects your name, it can, you respond with anything you want. right? To say, hey, I'm listening, right? It's so customizable. It's pretty amazing. I saw somebody mention, because they talked about resources, and there's limits on the number of them you can have because they're all going to be streaming straight to Home Assistant, right? But some people gave some good ideas as, hey, pair them with a motion sensor. So when you're in the room, they will turn on and stream that and listen for you, because why have it running in empty rooms too? And that was a great idea, I thought. And the Home Assistant team has actually come out and said they're working on this. They're trying to shift some of the recognition over to the satellites and reduce the load on the actual server and speed up things. There's a lot they have planned for this. And honestly, if you're watching this is an exciting time. My only thing is, when it comes to my voice assistants, Sonos has it built in, right? And I really like that in my house. The fact that it has Amazon, not Home Assistant, it has Amazon and Google built in, and that they're also their Sonos one, right? And I really like that because it does things like lower the volume and listen for you and stuff like this. If I were to go this way, I'd have to try and figure out how I can integrate that into my flow, right? But
yeah,
it's fun to watch. It's fun.
I wonder if there will be a day, clearly not right now, and it's going to be a while, but I wonder if there'll be a day where there's the software that Sonos or, these other products that have multiple voice assistants built into them could just put Home Assistant, voice inside of Jarvis, so to speak, inside the Sonos. And that way, instead of picking Google or Amazon or whatever, you can go ahead and pick Home Assistant, and then you'd get to use that wake word and integrate with that system. It'd be kind of cool.
It would be cool, but I don't think Home Assistant gets the recognition or the respect that it should, because when you see certain products, they always list out the big ones. They list out the Google, they list out Amazon.
Well, yeah, of course, because that's what everybody knows.
And it's one of the big players in there. I saw one where they even listed out some brand I didn't even hear of.
Well, welcome to being a custom installer, where we'll tell you all about Control 4, URC, RTI, brands you've never heard of, but they'll go into your house for multi-millions of dollars. Yeah,
exactly.
No, it's they're never going to mention that off the bat, but it's usually one that some brands, we've been seeing some brands get around to doing integrations with them or making strategic connections with them, because they know that the products that they sell end up in these homes that have Home Assistant and being controlled. So that, maybe there is a path for this one day that could be integrated, is just having an option. And that's one other reason to buy a Sonos speaker, so to speak. So yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah, the custom wake word is pretty cool, because I'm not really sure I like the names, like the Amazon Alexa or Josh possibly. But I like to be able to use like other words. And so like computer or Nabu is pretty cool, and other stuff like that. And I know you can change them in those other programs as well, but being able to make your own would be super cool. But I'm not really sure what I would make mine. What would you guys make yours?
Nothing I can say on this show.
Well, I can't use explicit because the wife calls me that all the time. So it just trigger all our. But wow. I'd go with Jarvis, I'm a real fan of Jarvis, but I'd also want the Jarvis voice too. Like if they somehow, I know they possibly can't get it because of, copyright or whatever, but if somebody gets that in the community and we get that going, I'll be so excited.
I don't know. The way these, AI has been used to replicate voices, you only need a couple of minutes to train it, or a couple of things to like 30 seconds to train an entire voice on, and it can get pretty close. So, and because it's an open standard too, anybody could take any voice and just add it and publish it, and it's not tied to any big company. Like there's a lot of lines that will be crossed here. Oh yeah. There's a lot of DMCA takedown notices that are going to be sent thanks to Home Assistant here. So yeah.
Well, they definitely have the Alexa listed on the article there, so I'm sure it won't take long for Amazon to reach out about that.
Yeah, Alexa wake word for a completely different system. That's an interesting idea, but teach their own. So, all right, well, that's pretty cool. I'll have to keep an eye on them and see what they do. I saw that there was is there a charge to this? You have to pay them $13 or something?
No, that I think that was for the hardware. So they're giving you examples of devices that they've been testing on and that have been working well for them. And those devices have been selling out. Like as soon as they announce them, they sell out because everyone goes and jumps on one. But they've been testing on an M5 stack, I believe. It's like a ESP32 with a speaker microphone development board, and just watching them use that, it's very impressive. From across the room, it picks up the wake word and their commands and everything. And you could also tie it in with like OpenAI, the Chat GPT stuff, and have it answer all the other questions. But they're going to be working on all the other like non-control commands, right? So like, what's the weather like today? They're going to be working on all that stuff, and they're adding it. You just got to give them time. But they've already noted that these are some of the next steps we're working on.
This is only chapter 4. So
we still have, what's October, November, December. We still have 2 more months in the year, so.
It'll be done.
Yeah. It'll be done in time.
It is pretty impressive. 56 language support. They've got all these little satellite things you can put around the house that are small devices that stream the audio back, or stream whatever it is all the way back over to the main thing to do all the processing. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All local, inside the house, secured, all that good stuff. So
nice.
All right. Well, let's move on here. Got some bad news for you guys. Best Buy will be ending the sales of physical media, including Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K Ultra HD in 2024.
No.
Oh, no. Where am I going to not buy my DVDs from now?
Well, I bought my DVDs there all the time, and I return them within 24 hours,
In 1999, yeah. This decision is in line with the growing dominance of streaming services in the entertainment industry, and Best Buy will not only cease in-store sales, but also online sales. So not even going to sell them online for you anymore. Retail has been gradually reducing physical media offerings over the past couple of years. I noticed when I was in there, it's actually kind of funny. Went in there not the other day, quite a while ago, just kind of like poke my head in and look around. And there were only a couple of shelves of movies and things, but the smart home stuff had expanded into like a whole aisle. I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool.
They have so much smart home stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, Best Buy decision to discontinue online sales of physical media comes as not really any surprise to anybody, I think. You guys sounded not very surprised at all. But let's see. Walmart, Amazon, and Target are now the top retailers of DVDs, Blu-ray discs. With Best Buy's exit, they're going to get even bigger if they don't decide to quit selling those giant bins of DVDs at Walmart for $1 for 5 or whatever it is. Have you guys seen those?
Yeah, I've seen them. They're such super low quality cases and everything. It's like the cheapest you could possibly make a physical DVD.
In a paper sleeve.
But it works.
No, it's just, if you open the case, it cracks and breaks.
Yeah, I was going to say, these ones are fancy. They have a harder case, but it's definitely not a high quality case.
It's interesting with all the stuff that's going on with streaming that, I can understand. Retail's been changing for a while, and Best Buy has been at the forefront of a lot of the changes and making those decisions early. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to Walmart, Target, other retail stores in the future when it comes to physical media. I know a lot of people will be upset about this because it's sometimes the only way to get a great copy of a movie is to go out and buy that 4K UHD movie or whatever. You're not going to get the same movie streaming it at all. It's the file doesn't exist there. So the data doesn't exist there. It's all either some compression or they've taken something away. But yeah, to get some of the like super high quality movies, you need that 4K Blu-ray. So I'm sure the studios will still sell those on their stores.
Yeah. And you know what? The Blu-rays and DVD section, you said it always took up a huge part of the store. I haven't been in Best Buy recently at all, but when I last was, it was a large section, and that's now going to free up a lot of space for them, I guess, smart home stuff or whatever else they want to branch into. Like, a smart home would make sense. That's getting big now when it comes to going and buying stuff.
Yeah, they got to make room for all these Matter devices, man.
It's all going to matter. Yeah, I remember when I was working at Circuit City, 1999, 2000, 2001, somewhere in that era, like the entire middle of the store was CDs and DVDs. Like it was a very large space dedicated. Of course, that was like the heyday of CDs. Like if you weren't stealing stuff off of Napster at the time, you'd have to go to the store and buy a disc. And yeah,
I guess now you'll just have to buy Kaleidoscape.
I mean, no, it's not going to happen.
So trade in your $30, $40 Blu-rays and just get a Kaleidoscape.
When I get that Tesla with the API, I'll get the Kaleidoscape.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Well, speaking of streaming news, we've got some interesting numbers here about Apple TV and all the other competitors that are out there like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video here in the U.S. market. Just Watch, it's an app I love to use, announced some market share figures for the third quarter of 2023 and show that Amazon Prime holds a commanding 22% of the market share. I guess not really commanding, followed closely by Netflix with 21%, Paramount Plus, Apple TV both experienced 1% growth, while Disney lost 1%. So here we go. Here's the list. Amazon Prime, 22%, Netflix, 21%, Max, 15%, same as before. Disney Plus, 12%, down 1%, Hulu, 11%, Paramount, 8%, Apple TV, 7%, and others down at 4%. So, very interesting. I guess it says Apple TV has shown steady growth since introduction in 2019. But the whole streaming market as a whole seems pretty stagnant right now. It took Apple TV Plus over a year to grow its market share by 1%. In comparison, Paramount Plus had only 4% of the market share in the same period last year and now has more subscribers than Apple TV Plus. I don't know. I still enjoy my Apple TV Plus stuff. The new shows are starting to come back on. Got the morning show, got Physical back in there, and I still haven't caught up on two of my other ones. Invasion came back. Gavin, did you see that? Have you seen any of those?
Oh, I've been watching them all. Where I'm caught up to the latest one. It's been great. I'm loving that show.
I was shocked. I thought it was canceled.
Oh no, it came back season 2. I'm loving it.
Well, it still seems I probably made it through 1 or 2 episodes, but it still seems as slow as the first season. So I'm hoping it picks up. There's aliens.
It gets a bit better. It's a little faster. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was everybody's complaint last season. But hey, I'm happy. The fun stuff's coming back on, and yeah, I've been happy with it so far. What do you guys? I think TJ, you mentioned. Are you on Paramount Plus? Did you say?
No, I do not have Paramount Plus, but I think I'm about to subscribe because one of the shows we watch is on there. Can't remember what
is it like right now, Bounty Hunter.
I mean, I've just heard about Paramount Plus in the past month. Did it just launch this year or something?
I think it's been around for a year or two.
I feel like it's been advertised heavily recently.
It used to be Paramount.
They added a plus on there. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised Amazon Prime is so high up on here. I feel like the only thing I've ever watched on Amazon Prime was The Boys.
I think Amazon Prime's cheating because it's included with our Amazon Prime subscription, right, for free. So if they're counting me, that's not fair because I never launch it, right? That's what I want to know. It would have to be active users, right? I hope that's what they're doing. Otherwise, this is cheating for them.
I don't know that this is active users thing. This is the app Just Watch, right? So if you ever Just Watch is great because what it is it's an app that kind of aggregates all these things together. And if you ever want to know where a show is or a movie is streaming at, or you can buy it or rent it or whatever, you just type it in there and magic, it tells you where to go watch it at. So you know where to either go oh, that one's on Apple TV. Oh, that one's on Paramount. Oh, I have to go pay that. It's a rental. I have to go pay on Amazon or wherever. I use it all the time. So what it does is when you sign up or sign in, you have to tell it what services that you are subscribed to or have access to, and that's kind of how it gets those numbers. So I don't think this is active. It's not active, but this is going to be more of hey, we think that they have this many subscribers, or they're going up because we see more people coming to our app and asking for Apple TV Plus stuff.
And then it's weird too, because how do they count that for people that have more than one of these, right? How do you count the market share?
What do you mean?
If I have Netflix and Amazon Prime, I'm reflected in both of those, but I'm just one person.
Yeah, you would be, right.
Yeah, because they're all separate services, so you're just trying to figure out the total amount of people per service.
Yeah, you would have a number in both of those columns. It would just be, leveled out over the whatever the 100%. I mean, none of these are cracking a third of the market. So at least from this number. So, all right. Well, that's interesting. Let's move on here to even stranger retail. This is not The Onion. So I guess Netflix is planning on opening branded retail stores in order as Best Buy just goes out of business of DVDs and whatnot. Netflix, yeah, we're all in. So They're open branded retail stores in order to further enhance its brand presence and offer physical shopping experience to its customers. The company's in talks with landlords in several major U.S. cities to secure prime locations for stores. And these stores will showcase and sell a wide range of Netflix merchandise, including clothing, collectibles, and other novelty items inspired by its original content. The move to open physical stores is seen by many as a way for Netflix to engage in more of its dedicated fan base and capitalize on the popularity of its shows and movies. So I guess you can go shopping and chill, I guess. Is that the idea?
Nice try. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. No, it's just them capitalizing off the fan base. And, you know, when a show goes viral on Netflix, before they didn't really have a way to capitalize on that, you know, other than more people shared it, more people, you know, watched it. But, you know, now they're looking, we can make more money off of Squid Game, you know, by opening up a theme room or something for Squid Game where people can come and play a game or something like that. And I think prime real estate right now is a good time because there's a lot of real estate open right now since COVID. Come to Toronto, you'd be able to get a lot of anywhere. There's so many open shops right now, open spaces in Toronto.
That is a great point.
You know, so it's a good move. They'll probably get in there cheap, make a lot of money, and then they can close down whenever they want. They can close those stores. They should almost treat them as temporary locations.
Kind of like the Spirit Halloween of the streaming world, right?
Yes.
Just come in, take over abandoned warehouses, and then, you know. But the only thing I thought about with this that would actually make sense to me, like something that I might go visit. Do you guys have any of those like immersive art experiences near you? Like we have one in Columbus called Otherworld, which I've linked in the back chat there.
There was one in Denver.
There was one in Denver
yes.
called Meow Wolf. Yep. I was thinking like that would actually be cool for Netflix because then they could come up with like basically the same concept, but just change the theme every like 6 months or 12 months or something. So they have a Stranger Things one, and then they could do the Squid Games one or like a bunch of other ones. And so that way it'd be like an actual reason for people to come. Because I don't think people are going to go to this just to like hang out and play random Netflix games and stuff. But if they turn it into like an immersive art experience that people already love, but they make it character themed, people might actually go to that.
I think so, yep.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I was sitting here saying this, and my wife says it's going to be more like a Hot Topic. So they're going to be selling merchandise and t-shirts.
Yeah, see, I don't see that being successful.
It might be. I mean, they're going to have to give a reason for people to come in. And so maybe they can do something like that, where it's a little more like they have an immersive experience or something. They will have a physical presence, I guess. So that's more than they have now, right? They were the DVD by mail company, and now they can go sell all the toys and trinkets and Stranger Things t-shirts in one location and make the money themselves rather than selling it through like an online portal, you know, through Walmart or Best Buy or whatever, and not getting not getting the full profit of those, I guess. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
If they put a Tim Hortons in each location, people will come for the coffee and stay for the t-shirts, you know? There you go right now. They should sign that right there, you know?
Not if it's American Tim Hortons, because American Tim Hortons is awful.
Oh,
I'm also being told here, this is breaking news, I guess. I'm also being told that they will they'll have food as well. So,
ooh.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it'll definitely be an experience.
Sounds like you're being told that you're going to be going then.
Yeah, I'm being told that we will be going, I guess. So there will be a Netflix store pilgrimage at some point.
Let us know in 2025 when they might launch this. I have a feeling they're not going to launch this, but
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like Gavin said, retail locations probably pretty cheap right now because there's plenty of empty stores around. You know, in prime locations, there's plenty of empty places. If they can set up at a good spot, or like next to an Apple store or something like that, same a mall or something, I think they'll get some traffic. I say that because the only mall we have in town that has the Apple store is the only mall that's alive. The rest of them are just like wastelands, like absolute wastelands. They used to have Hot Topics. No, they don't have a Hot Topic anymore. It's a Bed Bath Body Works thing, and then like one thing in the food court, and that's it. The rest is tumbleweeds.
Yeah, they just tore down them all over here. So I think the other ones are soon to follow.
Sad day. We used to like our malls. Then we're like, wait, I can shop online and not go there. It's where we used to go to hang out.
Yeah, I think that might make I think retail stores might actually make a comeback whenever retailers stop accepting returns. Because like, you know, like the online thing is super convenient because you can just return everything super easy. And like Amazon's terrible about this. Because Amazon, you can just like send whatever you want back to them, right? Like they don't really care. Like they're just like, here's your money back. Sometimes they don't even make you send the item back. But I think if they were to like put a stop to that, the retail stores might make a comeback. But outside of that, there's nothing really going to happen.
Yeah, and Amazon has kind of started cracking down a little bit more. Like, whereas before they would do nothing to prevent you from returning whatever. It probably didn't even have to be the right thing. They would just take the box back. Now I think there's a lot more like pushback. There's some friction there that I've heard people having, where in the past there was no issue at all with returning anything that you wanted to return. In fact, I have a UPS here that a client of mine ordered, and it was the wrong size for his rack. It was too deep. And there was just no way for it to physically fit in there. So we tried to return it, and they were like, just keep it. We'll send you one you need. That's a UPS. That was like a $700 UPS. And the point is, they just don't want to pay for the shipping to come back and have to deal with that. So I got it. Thanks.
Can't beat that.
Win-win. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be interesting. Get some Netflix candy. I wonder if there's like Stranger Things ice cream or something. I don't know.
You know, it's a slow news week when this is the most exciting news article.
Oh, well, I got one more that's really exciting here.
Ooh.
Security company ADT. Nope. Sorry, TJ, it's not going to be exciting. Security company ADT is set to launch a new system called ADT Smart Home Security, which appears to be a more suitable successor to the Nest Secure system that previously ADT self-startup system that they had for this ADT setup system. The new system features a polished sensor hardware, sleeker base station with backlit keypad, and door window sensors that can be disarmed with an on-device button. The system can be set up by the customer, offers both self-monitoring and professional monitoring options, and integrates with Google products like the Google Home. Also work with Z-Wave products for adding in smart light locks, garage door controllers, and thermostats. However, it does not support Z-Wave sensors. And the article mentions that Google invested $450 million in ADT in 2020, and the new system is expected to integrate with Google Nest devices as well. So an interesting little new product on the horizon. I guess we've seen a couple of these like partnerships between Google and ADT over the years, and I guess this is just a continuation of it.
When does it get released?
The article does not say. It says it appears to be launching.
Does the article say when it's going to be canceled?
I mean, these typically don't get canceled.
Yeah, this is from ADT. Google. It's good.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
Not on Google device, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. No, I just heard a lot of Google integration and stuff, so I don't know.
I think Google will just sell this.
Okay.
Because they're canceling their Nest Protect. So
Exactly.
So they got to cancel something to make room for something else.
Or Nest Secure Hub, I should say.
It looks good, but it's very basic. It just comes with one door sensor, one motion sensor. So, it could get expensive when you start to expand this system to cover your house and cover more windows and stuff. So you got to keep that in mind when you look at things like this.
That's the ADT way.
Well, last I knew, ADT was trying to sell their residential division. So maybe this is like the precursor to Google buying it.
To cancel it.
No, that would be canceled. Yeah, I doubt when they say that ADT would sell ADT residential off, but they would keep the ADT name. I mean, that's too valuable. The commercial security would go some other direction, be called something else, because no one cares on the commercial side. But like on the residential side, that brand. I mean, I have ADT signs in my yard, and I don't have ADT monitoring. So like, you just have to buy the signs on eBay and stick them out in your yard, and that protects your home better than their security system. So, whoops, did I say that out loud? Anyway.
We're going to get a DMCA notice now, dang it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I do think it was interesting that it will integrate with those Nest devices, though. So maybe if you already have Nest devices in the house, now that the Google Nest one is going away, you'll be able to utilize those in with this system as well. So it is kind of ugly, though. I mean, basic. It's very basic.
Yeah, I think it looks all right compared to some of the other stuff.
It's like a little puck thing, like a little
giant puck.
Little giant puck, yeah. There's a big one and a small one.
Is there two? I thought there was just one.
There's a hub, and then I guess there's a base station. They both are round things with keypads on top. So maybe
one looks like an Echo Dot, and the other one looks like a Deco.
Well, the hub is the
wireless
discontinued
router.
Google one, and then the new one is the tall one that looks the same.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first picture, and okay, this is where I'm confused because the one on the left is the Google one that's discontinued. Got it.
Yeah.
The one on the right is just the top. So maybe when you turn it sideways, it looks like the thing further down, which is yes, much larger than a Google.
Yeah, it's like a fat Amazon Alexa. So fat, short Amazon Alexa.
Stack 3 of them on top of each other, and that's what you get. Yeah. All right. Well. Nobody matters this week. We didn't really see any matter stories coming. This was actually pretty quiet. So I guess those O. Henrys are going to matter because that's what I'm going to go look for.
Oh, I'm going to be talking about matter shortly, so I'll let you keep going. Don't worry.
All right.
I'll send you some O. Henrys next week.
All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/456. All right, I got a pick of the week. It's over on courtesy of our Mastodon there, and I came across the cursed voice over IP cable. Probably wouldn't work. And if you scroll down on here, you can see that other people have made different versions of that, including ones that hook directly to mains power. So if you want to use the Port Fryer 2000, as someone calls one of these things, you can. It'll definitely add more power over the Ethernet than you need. 250 volts of it, it looks like, because these are the European plugs that are on here as well. So,
will these make my cameras run faster?
I love that the community is coming together to solve a problem.
I know.
Yep.
It's just wire. I mean, you just need the wires. It doesn't matter what connections are on the end. They're all the same thing.
Tomato.
It's funny. Somebody puts something on here. I don't even know what this is for. Maybe just that power device. And it's not. Like, I think some of them could be like those old like Balins, like an actual Balin, where you converted like analog AV to Cat5 and then converted it back on the other end. Because there'd be enough pairs that you could do something like that.
Are you talking about the headphone or the 3.5 millimeter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've used this to send audio over quite a distance, and they're pretty nice because I guess I didn't have anything else to compare it with, but I didn't notice any like loss of signal or anything like that. So I forget what I used it for. I think it was like a TV with a headphone jack or something go into like a Sonos amp.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most random thing, but like I just had it in the truck and it worked. So why not?
Had it in the truck, had a Cat5 extra, done. There you go.
Don't need a fancy $100, $200 Balun when this thing just worked.
I thought it was funny they called it the cursed voice over IP cable. Because, I mean, it would do it. It would do the job. If you do have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Well, we do have some project updates this week. Well, first there's a Home Assistant update, so I guess I gotta go do that. Well, Gavin, you want to tell me what's going on in this thing?
Well, you may actually see like 50 Home Assistant updates this week. So they were basically just updating a bunch of libraries, dependencies, etc., etc. So a lot of add-ons. You don't be surprised if you see a lot of updates coming through. Just click on it, brings code up to date. Makes things better, faster, fixes bugs, creates new bugs. But what they did was they did update Home Assistant OS, right? And Home Assistant OS is the actual underlying operating system that Home Assistant runs on when you're running it on their Home Assistant boxes or you're running in a VM. So you want to get that updated, but they apparently made some significant speed increases in Bluetooth. So if you're using Bluetooth with Home Assistant, these were actually Linux kernel updates that they were able to find the issue and report it to the Linux maintainers.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so it benefited not just Home Assistant, but just Linux in general. So, that's pretty good. And other bug fixes and stuff. So you'll see these updates coming through.
I forgot I had turned mine off, so let's wait for it to boot back up.
You let yours turn off?
Well, yeah, we were having problems with the server earlier.
You don't love Home Assistant.
Man, you don't restart your stuff and you just let it turn off all of a sudden?
Yeah.
What kind of person are you?
I forgot to turn it back on. It's starting up now. Now that I know that it wasn't the cause of my server crashing issue that I was having.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I keep hitting wait. When am I going to get this nice logo? They're still giving me the old logo. I want the nice logo.
You got to update.
Yeah. Which means you got to run it, Seth. Come on.
Oh, there it goes. There's the nice new logo. Perfect.
Ooh. Forbidden Closet of Mystery. Is that where you hide the Christmas presents?
No, that's where the server rack is.
I just call mine laundry room.
Well, You don't have a 6-year-old that's curious, and you gotta keep them away from certain things. So you just tell you never to go in there. That's the forbidden closet of mystery, and that's enough, right? She should pay attention. Oh man! All right, it looks like Gavin's been busy with some projects: ESP Home, inefficient templates, HomeTech. Whoa, oh my gosh, man! Are we gonna have time for this? What you just upgraded all your Z-Wave? You did all that? You actually did that?
It's been a rough week. That's all I have to say. So first of all, I'll skip through these. I finally jumped into ESP Home stuff. So if you have Bluetooth things like Switchbox products, right? This is great because I set up a Bluetooth proxy. So now instead of it sending the commands through like their hub, which then doesn't really cover the whole house, it now sends the commands out through the Bluetooth proxy close to my curtains and stuff like that, and it's so much faster, better response. So that was my first thing I did with ESP Home. The second thing I threw together a pressure sensor for my pool filter. But we're at that point of the year where I just closed my pool today, so I will have to test this. It'll give me time to. No, it's going to give me time to test and refine it for later. So next year I'll implement this. But it was cool to finally get it working and see the values coming through. So I'll expand that later. But that was ESP Home. I plan to do a few more things with it. I already have some devices bookmarked that I got to order off Amazon, and we'll see what else I can do with that. While in all of this, I was cleaning up a lot of my template sensors. If you're familiar with Home Assistant and templates, just a word of caution: if you write an inefficient template, it could actually reduce response time of Home Assistant. So if you're noticing slowdowns and stuff like that, look at your templates. Don't be afraid to look at the templates, open them up, turn them off temporarily and see what the response time's like. Cause I found one that was actually slowing down the response time of my Home Assistant significantly. And I didn't see it in CPU usage or memory usage. I only saw it when you flick a light and it just took a lot longer than usual to turn on. And that's the only way I can do it. Once I disabled that template, lights are instant. Everything's fast again. It was beautiful. So, if you're ever noticing something like that and you have a lot of templates, check them out because a badly written one can cause other issues. And then now,
wait a second. What, I had to ask you this before. What are the templates for? Is this reusable code?
No.
I mean, I know what a template is, but it doesn't, it's if you're using an inefficient one, how does that?
In Home Assistant templating, it's almost like coding. So it allows you to write if command statements, but you would use them in when you're creating your own custom entities, for example.
Okay.
Right. So you can make an entity that does something it's a number entity that counts the number of lights that are on. Right. And then every time a light turns on, it triggers a refresh of that entity.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We talked about these before.
You could do that. But I had one that was counting the number of, it was monitoring offline devices, right? But it was just the way it was written. It was really, I don't know if there's a queue that has to process all this, but it was processing everything every time a state update was happening. So once I disabled it, everything went fast again. So you just gotta be careful. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then finally, this is the big one now, right? I talked about this last week. I said I bought the Zeus Z-Wave 800 USB stick, and I was planning to, do a little research, see how I can implement it. And I didn't plan to have it done by now, but something forced me. So, while doing the research, I was wondering, how can I get my old Z-Wave devices onto this new stick? I have about 94 Z-Wave devices. So I was looking at, people were saying, well, you could do a backup of my old HomeTech one. I was like, okay, cool. But then they're like, okay, you can only back up if you have version 1.2 of the firmware. So I was like, great, I gotta do a firmware update first. Luckily that didn't wipe out the stick. I was like, great, I got a firmware update. Okay. Then I did the backup. I was like, great. Then I switched the sticks over to do a restore. And I figure, I have the backup. I have the old stick still. I'll just put the new stick in, do a restore, see if it, it works. It didn't work. You can't restore. There's no backup and restore. So I said, oh, well, that didn't work. So, I took out the new stick. I put back in the old stick, switched it back over. all my entities got renamed. All my automations were messed up. Everything, the devices were still there, but it's like it reset everything on it, right? So, yeah, good thing I did this in the morning because then I had all day to work on it. But at that point, I made the decision, do I fix all the entities or do I just go through and migrate it now? So that was Saturday morning. I just made the call. I said, all right. I gave the wife my credit card. I said, go shopping. And I just started on it. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. It took me about an hour to an hour and a half to move over all the Z-Wave. So going through the whole house and doing the triple click exclude, triple click include really works smoothly, right? Like I was surprised. The new stick is really fast. It picked up, I had no issues with range, nothing like that. And that was the easiest part of this whole thing. I really appreciate Z-Wave for that, because when I was doing this and going through this process, I just thought of what I had to do for a Matter device. And, with a Matter device, you either scan the code, which you probably lost at that point, or you enter the little number that's written somewhere on the device, usually on the back against the wall, right? And then even after you got it paired, I don't know what it is with Matter, but it took like minutes before it actually finished. Right. Yeah. And that would always drive me mad. It would drive me mad with Matter, right? Was the fact that it took so long. And that would have been a multi-day project for me. But with Z-Wave, it was almost instant with every device. It was, see it. All right. Now it's added. Okay. Done. Interviewing. Done. Right. So I really appreciate Z-Wave and simplicity like that. So yeah, it took me about an hour and a half. After that though, I only finished probably, what's today? It took me about 2 days of fixing all my automations, renaming all the entities, cleaning out all the old stuff. That was the toughest part of this whole thing, was just, my whole Home Assistant, having to rebuild all that. The entity namings, default names, I came up with a naming scheme. I cleaned them all out. I'd be watching TV shows. I went room by room. It's a headache, but you know what? It's done now. Everything's back up and running. It's fast. The new Z-Wave 800 stick is beautiful. It's running like so fast, so great. Range is good. I don't have any long range devices yet. Well, I have one, but I don't think I added it as long range. My Zoo's smoke detector,
little relay thing.
Yeah, DC voltage thing. But I don't have it added as long range. I should play around with that one a bit more. But it's beautiful. Like, it's nice to be on a new stick. I noticed the response time with the old Gen 5 stick on my Home Assistant seemed to be choking with it sometimes, and that was due to a recent update, and I think they broke something in there. So I don't know, but being on the Z-Wave 800, I'm the new one. It's so far it's working great. So I was kind of forced into it. Yeah, wiped out my Saturday. This Sunday I was still fixing automations all the way up until Monday night. I finally got all the automations all set up. Everything's back in. Everything's named properly. It was a chore. So if you ever try to do something with Home Assistant like this, do it in the morning, early morning, to give yourself the whole day to recover from what you just screwed up.
This is why I don't update. This is why it's right.
I was trying to update.
You don't update because you have different problems. So.
Yeah, you have different problems. I was trying to get new hardware in there. That's all.
Yeah, the first rule you learn as an integrator, I guess maybe the first toughest rule you learn, is never to update on like a Friday night.
Never.
Yeah.
So
never.
Updating in the morning definitely makes the most sense.
Never update, never do any installs on a Friday, never update, never press that button. As tempting as it may be, you think it's going to fix a problem, it won't. It's not going to fix a problem. Not on a Friday, it won't.
There's been no problems with it. Nobody's reported any issues.
The same button works on Monday. Same button will work on Monday, and it'll actually work on Monday. On Friday, it will not work.
Out of spite. It just knows.
It knows, yeah.
Software has something built into it, doesn't it?
We programmers, we write that in. If you're foolish enough to do any updates or anything on a Friday, we're going to hurt you. The pain is on. Like, there's so much we can do as programmers. Like, it's just built in. That's kernel level code. Home Assistant can't fix that. I'm sorry. They just can't. It's in there. So
And if you're a user of Z-Wave JS, which used to be Z-Wave to MQTT, but name the devices in the Z-Wave JS integration. Trust me, it will make life so much easier, because when you go into that and all you see are 40 Zeus contact sensors, good luck trying to find out which one is which. So at least put the room name and, the name of it so that you know which one it is. Cause I had to inventory all my devices before and they were just generic names and I could not find where they were. So 94 devices. That's all I saw. So I had to actually go through and find them all and figure out. There were a couple that, I was like, what did I do with these again? And I eventually found them. I was like, oh yeah, this thing, So, yeah, it's a chore.
As I look him over my shoulder, and it's like Tempest ST-00095. That's the name of the device. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know how you guys don't change that right away. That annoys me.
Certain things don't annoy Seth. He doesn't let things get to him.
It just rolls right off my back.
Yeah.
Living dangerously.
It's all behind him now.
Yeah, it's literally behind me.
Yes.
Yeah. Good job, Gavin. All right, TJ, you've been monkeying around with some camera stuff that sounds kind of crazy to me. Maybe not to Gavin, but to me it does. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so when we bought the house in June, I just wanted the quickest and simplest thing for cameras. Like, I wasn't trying to invest a bunch of time and money. So, of course, I went with Unify cameras. So I already had the Unify networking. I already had a Dream Machine Pro SE. I had a Ubiquity Pro access point, and, like a dozen of these little PoE powered 5-port switches that work great as well. And so the Unify cameras were a natural fit. And so I bought them and they've been like, okay, the best part about Unify cameras is the software, because it's very easy to use. It's got person and vehicle detection on there, and it just works. There's not a lot of BS that goes into it. But if you know me, I've always griped about the hardware, because the hardware, I think, is the worst camera hardware I've ever used in my life. For a basic camera, it's like $129, which is reasonable. Their older version, the G4, was $199, which I think was way overpriced for what it was. But for $129, it's not a bad price. Mounting them sucks, because I don't think whoever designed them has actually ever mounted a camera. And so if you mount it on the eaves of your house, there's not a lot of lift that you can do to the camera. And so my problem was that I have these little baby soffits. They're 2 inches wide and they're super deep. And so I actually had to build little wood spacer blocks to bring the camera down. And so that way I can actually see what I wanted to see.
I feel like they let Chad GPT design their camera mounts. Just it kind of knew what it was supposed to look like, but then just kind of well, here it is. This is what you should have. And it's got all the parts and pieces that you need, right? But they're just not fully functional. I think if you mounted them on the wall, it would be a lot better. Not on a soffit.
Yeah, which is fine. But when you're, retrofitting wire, you're not going to cut open your walls to run wire. You're going to go through the attic or the basement or something like that.
Fair,
and
yeah.
It just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. So this week last week, we had some kind of animal tear up our backyard. And I checked the cameras, and the night vision on them is just god awful. We don't have a ton of light in our neighborhood. And so whenever the cameras are on, they look like butt. And so I decided that I would upgrade cameras, right? I was like, well, this isn't going to be too bad. I'll just buy some $100 Amcrest cameras. They have some color night vision in. And even if the color night vision doesn't work, the IR is going to be better, because I don't remember what the G4 or the G5 range is, but I feel like it's less than 50 feet, which is not ideal for cameras.
I think they even had some external parts you could clip on that address that. It was
they do.
IR. Yeah.
And I think that's only available for the professional, though. I don't think it's available for the cheaper ones.
Probably right.
And so that's my other problem with Ubiquity is their good cameras are $500 each. And for $500 in the normal camera world, that would get you a killer camera with heaters built into it and 200 IR range or 200 feet IR range and all this crazy stuff. like 200, I guess, or 500 dealer cost maybe. But it would just buy you like a way nicer camera, and I'm not dropping $500 on a camera for my house, and especially when I need 4 outside. I mean, that's $2,000 just on 4 cameras. I'm not doing that. And so I picked up these Amcrest cameras, and so far I literally just got them installed today, so like I can't talk a lot about them. I've used these ones specifically in the past. The night vision so far is way better than the Ubiquiti ones were. So we'll have to see how they are long term. The ones that I have, just because the ambient light and everything is not that good, they're not color night vision, but the black and white image is so far better.
Nice. Oh, well, the biggest problem is like now you have no VMS to look at these cameras through.
Yeah, Seth, that's the problem, right? And so we get into camera software, and when you're doing this like people's houses and stuff, you buy like an NVR, and you just like hook it in, and like bam, you can do playback and all that stuff. But in the house here, we like to do things a little more complicated, and so I've delved into running my own NVR, and basically the only good option out there is Blue Iris. And if you've seen Blue Iris or used it, it looks like butt. Like it looks like it was made in the 80s or in the 90s, and they've literally never updated it since. And it does like everything you could want it to do.
No. It looks like they've updated. They just updated and added more features and didn't fix any of those UI elements you're talking about. They're just like, oh, we need more buttons. We'll put more buttons on here. Done.
Yeah, like it literally does everything you want it to do. Like every time you talk to somebody about it, it's like, oh, I'm able to do this. And Gavin's one of those people. And Gavin's going to tell us all these great things it can do. But I just can't get over the fact that it just looks and works like butt. I mean, it's just like somebody wants me to pay for this. Like, this should be free software just because of the way it looks.
Should be paying me.
Like, it is not expensive. I don't know. Like, it's probably it's less than $100, I think, right?
It's like $60 for a full
But then I got to buy the mobile app for $10 too. So it's like $70, which isn't bad. Like, I'm not complaining about the price, but it's just like, why can't we just have like somebody should buy Blue Iris and just give it a UI update, and everybody would be happy. They'd probably just like rebuy it at that point. So now I just don't want to use it. So we're going to find out. I'm going to end up using it because there's literally no other option, but it's so ugly.
It has an API. I wonder if you could hire a developer to create a new UI for you.
Man, I know a developer, and if I tell him I need it by next Thursday or by this Thursday, he might be able to whip it out.
Yeah.
Depends on how much you want to pay.
There should, I mean, it does have a decent API, and it does have like known things. It doesn't stop the fact that like the rest of the app is so hard to, I mean, it's just it's really hard to use. Like, it really is. It doesn't make, they have things that they could do in that app to make it easy to set up, to onboard, to get in. And it's like, no, we're just going to give you all the settings you've ever dreamt about. And it's literally one step above like doing command line video editing.
Oh my God.
With FFmpeg or something.
What's so hard about that?
Well, like, I'm just to the point in my life where, like, I'm a young professional. I run 2 companies and do a bunch of other things in my other free time that doesn't exist. And so the last thing I want to do is like configure this stuff. And so I just want something that like just works and I don't have to put a ton of effort into. And technology just isn't that, unfortunately. So if you're looking to host your own camera software, then Blue Iris is it, and you should feel bad about it.
Well, good news for you. Blue Iris setup and configuration is on my list of things and services I offer.
Ooh, perfect.
So,
nice.
Like we can negotiate rates.
I'll have to have you do that and set up Frigate at the same time, because that's making me drag my head against the wall.
Yeah, Frigate is another one that it's simpler, but it's also less
it's
feature.
simpler because you use YAML instead of command line GUI stuff.
That's not simpler. Is that simpler? I don't know if that's simpler.
They have cards and stuff that you don't have to use YAML.
Yeah,
it's gotten a little bit better. So yeah, but it's
not
more
to configure it. Not to configure it.
Well,
you have to
configure
set it
the options. You do have to use YAML.
Yep.
Yeah, it's more ingrained in Home Assistant, I believe, right? So,
but at least I get to use Home Assistant for that, right? So, like, I mean, like in Home Assistant's interface isn't the best, as we've talked about many times in the past, and you have to really like build anything that looks good. But at least, like, I don't know, Home Assistant looks a little bit more modern, and like the buttons make sense.
Right.
And so like that's fine, and just like you said, Seth, it looks like literally somebody just gave you all the options possible with Blue Iris, and I don't know, it's just too much.
I don't think they care about users in general. They just want to put out a product that you have to be almost a developer to configure yourself, right? That's their market, I think, right there, is to get into the pro space and or like, into some
not the pro space.
Yeah, I was gonna say prosumer, I guess.
Yeah, prosumer or some serious, they have used in some serious locations, but I just think that they want the person that uses this you have to read the manual. You have to read the manual. I've read the manual.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, see,
if you know me, I'm not reading any manuals.
I've read the manual.
I've read the manual, and then the manual changes.
Yes.
And you read somebody else talking about the manual, and you're like, oh, go look at this. Nope, that's a different story. This week from this year from last year, and you find stuff from like 2015 where people are complaining about, no, don't do that, do this because this doesn't work. And then you have to really dig deep and find out that they did change it eventually and fix that bug, or, who knows if they fix it or not. I don't know. Like, it is a giant program. It is so like if you look at Ubiquiti and what they've done or Nest or anything like that, like they support like 2 or 3 cameras. Like, it's not very much, right? And they control both ends of it. So they don't have to worry about somebody messing up a camera configuration on some random Hikvision or Dahua camera and trying to integrate it with their NVR. They have parameters. They know exactly what they are. It's very controlled, and the feature sets get controlled all the way back. And that's why they're able to make such a clean app, clean interface and everything, because there's no surprises to any of that. The entire product line is fixed, and they can over time add in more cameras, but at the same time, they own both of them. They don't have to worry about you adding in some random camera or doing something random or trying to do, what is it? The AI thing that we always,
the Code Project AI?
Yeah, Code Project. Yeah. You don't have to worry about somebody setting that up to do object detection. No, they just built it in, and it's like you get that on some cameras. And yeah, okay, great. But I don't know. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere. Like, Blue Iris is at the opposite end of that, where they're like, yeah, we'll work with just about anything on the market. And as long as your computer can run this program, which is optional, because sometimes you can put too much into it and it'll just crash the computer. Or the computer, because it's Windows, will just decide to randomly do an update and crash itself because it's just underpowered or whatever. Blue Iris is great for that. It's just such a big program. I just don't think anybody who's not a developer, but who just wants to sit there and tinker with it, is going to have the patience to deal with it. Like, I kind of lost my way on it. And it's like, well, we're just going to put an NVR in on this project, because I can't sit here and baby this thing. Like, I can't do it. It's just so unreliable. Not because of Blue Iris, the software, just because it runs on Windows and it crashes because the Windows computers suck.
You guys you're hurting me today. You're bashing Blue Iris, you're bashing Windows, and you guys are having all the issues that I don't have.
That's because you're a super nerd guy.
Yeah, I know.
We're not super
nerds.
nerds.
Like a network admin over here. Like, you have the background and everything and tools you need, like, at your disposal.
And you literally do nothing all day, Gavin. I mean, you're an IT person. I mean, you have time to configure this. I don't.
You were just messing around with your light switches all day, you told us. So
well, I'm off this week if it makes you feel better. But Blue Iris is the perfect example of an application that adds in every button their user requests. They say there's a lot of them they can get rid of.
My problem isn't even the options. It's just the interface to do everything. Like, give me all the options, sure, but just make it look better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like Wise or Waze, like the navigation app. I think that one looks awful too. So I just can't, it's hard for me to use stuff that looks terrible.
Yeah, I think they could use a designer to come in and just take away all the features that you wouldn't like. They have to know that most people, like 90% of the people, never touch this tab, the 15th tab on the settings screen. And that might not need to be there. It might
make the two nerds mad, though.
It'll be, just put it in an advanced section. Click the advanced button. Toggle the advanced, and all that stuff comes back. But everybody else can just kind of relax and like set up the basic stuff. And I don't know. I'm with you, TJ. There needs to be something out there that's like Frigate that doesn't require you to learn YAML to set up. That's so dumb. And then like something between Unify and the good old Frigate / Blue Iris stuff that's out there that looks, I mean, it's honestly really cool. The stuff you can do with Blue Iris is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff you can do with Frigate is really Frigate. I don't know what it is. Frigate, whatever. It's really cool. But to the onboard, like to get on that stuff is so frustrating. And there's a ton of like super expensive professional stuff out there that you can get involved with and pay a whole lot of money for. I guess you can throw money at the problem, but like, where does that leave us, or like TJ and myself?
Well,
so I'm back on you. Well, I'm back on Unify.
I think I'm going to throw money at the problem, Seth, because what I'm probably going to do, and we'll figure out this week how I really feel about it, because I got the trial of Blue Iris, I think, for 14 days. And one of the things that annoys me about Blue Iris so far, too, is that I'm doing the evaluation, and it puts a giant watermark across the whole thing that says Blue Iris evaluation. And it's like, okay, like, can you just let me use it without the giant watermark, too?
Can you just not? Yeah.
Yeah, come on, just stop. So that already annoys me, too. But I think what I'm probably going to end up on, and I don't want to do, is I'm going to end up buying a Synology NAS with some camera licenses. And so the NAS itself is like $600 for whatever their fancy one is, with like 4 drives. Or they have one that has like AI detection with 2 drives, and they have like another one without the AI detection that's 4 drives. They're about the same price. I'm probably just going to bite the bullet and just buy that, because the Synology software at least is better, and it does have like the smart detections and stuff built into it. I just don't want to do that, because the Synology is nice, it's $600, whatever, but then you have to buy a per camera license. And so, like, depending on which one I actually went with, I'd have to pay $50 per camera that I want to install. And so if I just get like the regular one, it comes with 2 licenses, and I have to buy 2 of them, so it's $100. If I get the NVR one, I think I get all 4 for free. I'm probably just going to do that, but I just don't want to spend $600 either. Kind of a cheapskate right now. I want my cake, and I want to eat it too, is basically what I'm saying.
I also warn you about the Synology hard drive controversy that's going on right now.
Well, I don't care about that, because they just warn you.
Yeah, might look. I don't know. I haven't looked into it very often, but it seems like a weird thing to do for a company that just based itself on dropping in hard drives or whatever. I can see that they don't want to support them, but
yeah,
I
don't know. But I've actually used that one in the past. I have a couple clients with it. It works fine. I don't know. We'll find out what happens, I guess. Stay tuned. Learn more next week or the week after.
Gavin's quiet.
Oh, I'm just getting bashed on now. I don't have much more to say. You guys hurt my feelings.
There is a cool hack for Unify Protect, which doesn't seem to work anymore. There might be an updated version. Somebody figured out a way to add non-Unify cameras to Unify Protect. And so, like, that's one of the annoying things about Unify Protect, is that you have to use Unify cameras, which, during the shortages made it super hard to do installations and everything, because they just weren't available. And if you want to replace a camera or something, you need an actual Unify camera, where like most other camera systems will allow you to use a third-party camera. So that's pretty annoying about the Unify setup. There's supposedly a workaround, but I haven't got it to work, and I don't think I want to rely on that anyway, because it's obviously not going to work forever.
Yeah, and it adds in latency and stuff. You don't want to add on all that, right?
No. There's got to be a better way. One of these days I'll find it. I'm not sure. I've run across a few of the very expensive EMS things that might be a good solution, but I don't know. Still, those have their own problems, because once they get to that price point, they're like, oh, well, our customers are casinos, not homeowners.
Right.
And the cool stuff that you thought you were going to have, it's not. That's for the casinos, and we're going to raise our prices.
You got to pay $20,000 for that.
And it's still an awkward thing to use. It's still got this weird interface that's not easy to use, not easy to set up, doesn't integrate with anything, because it's secure for the casinos.
Not supposed to.
Yeah. I don't know. What a mess. Well, I can tell you, definitely let us know.
Yeah, I've got another camera coming that's about twice the price, and it should have a longer IR range, so I'll give that a shot for some actual color night vision. But the camera software is still up in the air. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I don't think anybody does, because I think there's like 3 options out there. So
there is that Mac only option if you had an old Mac computer.
It's like Security Spy, right?
Something like that. I don't remember it. It's ancient too. And
it looks like butt, but I don't think it looks like as much butt. That's
It's
Blue
because
Iris.
it's just like, it looks like old Mac software butt.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like.
It's like, ooh, rounded corners and stuff. That's cool.
I think it's pretty basic as far as what it can do. I don't know if it has any kind of AI integration. It's got something in there now, I guess. So it's got intelligently analyzes the video. But all I have is a really old Mac Mini laying around. I don't think I would switch to this just for this. I
downloaded it and used it for about 5 seconds. It didn't make me happy either.
It's not expensive. It's like $40 or something.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper. Which, like I said, price is not a big thing for me. It's just I just want it to work, and I want it to be reliable.
There you go, TJ. Price is no object. So let him know.
Perfect.
All right. Well, speaking of price not being an object, I decided to purchase some of these Govee outdoor lighting things. Let's see. I got some of these over here. And this box is really light because they're outside and they're installed.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
I was actually surprised.
Oh, I didn't realize what they were.
Yeah, those are just little flood lamp versions. And they show them on the covers of things like installed all over the place. And I was thinking, I wonder when I get these things, because it's a pack of 6 of them. So I wonder when I get them that they're just all going to be connected with a cable. And they were all connected with a cable. So I don't know how that they, installed these on the first floor and second floor of the house that they have on their picture on Amazon. But little dubious there. But I don't know. I put them in. The app is not great. It has very limited software options for programming lights, but for what it does have, it's pretty basic and it does work. And it's easy to set up and work with. It does not work with anything that I could like any HomeKit stuff, but it does have a local API. So I'm sure there's like an integration for HomeKit or even Homebridge. I'm sure I could toss it into that and somebody's done it. So there's a little toggle switch you can turn on for local API, which is great. So should be fun. I just put them outside to light up half the house that I couldn't light up with this big giant flood lamp that I bought a couple of years back. And my wife was like, oh, that looks kind of dim. I like the big floodlight. I'm like, say no more. Say no more. So I do have some big DMX controlled wall washers that I have priced out on Amazon right now that will significantly light up the house a lot more than the couple of little tiny 4-inch flood lamps. These came with 24-volt flood lamps. No, these will be bright. But we'll see.
Where do you have the one on your garage set at? Because it looks like it's in the middle of the garage. Is it just like on the far left?
It's on the far left. So yeah, it's kind of sitting. That's the spotlight one, and I had it aimed at the house. It actually lights up the whole house, but that was the one where it was ending up in a neighbor came over from way far away and said, somehow there's a purple light turned on inside my house. I'm like, oh, that must be this one. And she's like, no, I think it's around the corner. It's aimed at my house. I'm like, nope, it's this one here. This is the floodlight. And it's probably really bright. She's like, yes, it is. So I moved that. That kind of also spurred me to go ahead and get these. And I also got the Govee outdoor ones, I haven't put these in. I'm kind of debating on whether I'm going to do that or not. But there's the Govee like permanently installed ones. And their permanent install is not quite what I would call a permanent install. It's more like, oh, we had some sticky tape stuff and you can stick this underneath your eaves. And there's wires that, go between each thing. And like, that's just not going to look that great, I don't think. So I'm still kind of in the market for, I'm probably going to send these back. They weren't expensive. They were on sale. They were like 150 or something during the Prime Day explosion or whatever. I don't remember what it was, but it was a decent amount off. Where I was like, okay, I'll get 100 foot of this stuff. I don't need that much, but I'll get 100 feet of it and see how it works and augment the little tiny floodlights if they're not powerful enough. And at night, the tiny ones are okay enough. They're not super bright, but they're okay. And these would be kind of in that same realm. And I don't know. I'd rather just send that back and spend $100 towards something I'd rather do. So, yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen to him. And
isn't this what you said? You showed us a picture that you bought. Last week.
Yeah.
Oh man. So We could still bet Seth or Gavin on when he's going to get them installed.
Still bad. It's these things.
He may never get them installed if he's thinking of returning them now. So
Well, that's true.
yeah.
How am I going to bet?
You go for the never install.
$1, Bob.
Will Seth install the Govee outdoor?
Seth, you didn't seem so excited about them, so
Yeah, it did seem like an impulse.
I was excited until I got them and I saw how they installed. Yeah.
And you know what's insane is because I see the usual YouTube people doing their reviews and they're loving these Govees and blow. And this is what I keep telling people: never trust reviews from people that get their products sent to them constantly by a company, right? Because yeah, they may not be sponsored. Yeah, they may not, but once they got it for free, they want to keep getting them products for free. They will not talk bad. I never see them talk bad. And then you get it and you're like, these aren't great lights. They're cheap light. Like all the stuff you pointed out, I don't hear about from these other reviewers.
Yeah, I will say that the Govee lights, that the ones I have that are outdoor flood lamps, are all marked IP65 or 66, which should be okay. But I've seen reviews saying that the seal will leak and you should actually silicone up the front lens so the water doesn't leak through them. Like, okay. So I did that with one as a test. And then the control box is IP4X. So I have this outdoor product with a control box you can't detach from the outdoor product as IP4X. There's literally no way to remove it. So I just kind of have that, like, I have it wrapped around the like water hose thing on the side of the house. So it will stay off the ground and out of the sprinklers when they turn on. And I'm hoping that, if it rains or whatever, that the Govee lights in general, IP66 rating should be okay, but flooding, you have decent rain here in Florida. You have sunlight that heats up those seals and tears them down over time. So I don't know. I don't know how well it's going to last over time. And I know that I can do way better with a more real permanent install setup if I were to just commit to doing that and get the aluminum extrusions that I need and that kind of stuff. So like all that exists, I price it all out, and it's just like a matter of like, by the time I want to do this every year, I'm already too late. Like I should have decided to do this in March and then ordered all the stuff and just wait for it to come in and put it all together. But then now again in March, moving into the month of May or whatever, April, it's not exactly cool, I guess, in Florida. And I'm not motivated at all to do it in the summer. Today was the first day we had where it was like 79 degrees as a high or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah. I was
now is the perfect time to do it then.
There's no like 58% humidity. Wind was like, you can see on the charts behind me was a decent wind today. It would have been great. This is our perfect day. This is the one day we get in Florida. And I wasted it inside at work. So
well, at Cydia, I saw this company release something that may help you. They're called Blackwire. They made this app that you can price out all those lights and the cables and find out exactly what you need to build. I thought you should take a look at that and see if you can order all your parts.
I'll look into it.
Never heard of that company.
It looked great. No, it's a small company, but it was a great product. I was impressed, and I don't even deal in that space.
Man, you don't get impressed that often either.
I know. But what they demoed was pretty cool. You can have a whole project, design your lighting, and it just gives you the parts, the price, everything. And you'll never. It eliminates all those random trips to Home Depot that I always have to do.
No, those are still included. Like you'll still have those. Don't worry.
It tallies them up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't be fooled. I have run my project through that a couple of times. So my house through that one a couple of times to do things like cabinet lightings and measurements in general. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm keeping these just because the effort that it would take to put them up is not. It doesn't take much effort, but it's just not going to look good. I know it's not going to get past. There's going to be wires with these little lights, and it's just not going to look good. You just
don't seem excited, so don't bother.
No. I think if it had an aluminum extrusion that I could hide the wires in, I would, but I haven't run across anything that would fulfill that, easily. So I think I'm probably going to pass on these and just get put in what I want to put in, which is a more RGB. It's the same thing, just more DMX, RGB driven, that kind of thing. So we'll see. These are actually decent lights. I think they're 24-volt power. So you could actually put quite a few of these things together. The little ones that I do have, they're 24-volt power as well, which I was kind of surprised because usually you get these LED things in, they're like 5 volts or 10 or 12. But to bump it up to 24, you can get a longer run wire out of it and, get decent power delivered to the lamp. So that's good. I was pleasantly surprised in that. And the setup was easy enough. I mean, once it got set up, it updated, got it on the Wi-Fi, and I can control it. It's just the software was limited. I know what I want to do, and the software is never going to do that. So it's kind of like, well, one day I'll tear these apart and put an actual control on them if they don't flood with water like the reviews say they're going to.
I would just return it. Like I said, you don't seem enthusiastic about it. You have to like the product. Putting them in is not going to make you like it any better.
Well, the flood lamps solved a problem. I'm okay with them. And for the price I paid, they weren't very much. I think they were under $100 for all 6 of them. I'm okay with them. And then the other ones are, the other ones are substantial amount of lighting and that kind of thing. I just don't think that I'm going to go through the effort of putting it in where it looks like, what was TJ? It looks like poo.
It looks like butt.
Looks like butt. Exactly. Yeah, there we go. That's not going to fly, and I'll have to take them down. So I'm not going to take them down. When they go up, they go up. They won't permanent. It said permanent.
Never touching it again.
Never touching it again. Exactly. If it breaks, I'm still not touching it.
Just going to stay up there, and the next homeowner is going to deal with it.
One flashing light up there, I don't care. And the control box not being outdoor rated is just mind-boggling. I do not know why they had made this whole outdoor system, and then the control box cannot get wet.
That doesn't make any sense. What the heck?
No, it doesn't. It's just insane.
Like, just keep it above the snow line down there.
It's like, where am I supposed to put it?
Above the snow line.
As long snow line. Yeah, I got one of those. All right, I think that's going to wrap up this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support the HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day and talk about all sorts of fun stuff, including helping Richard determine if he should get the Sonos 100s or 300s in his fantastic room that I just want to curl up on the couch and take a nap on. That looks beautiful. Great job, Richard.
I think the 100s are good enough, though, for the record.
I agree. And they're gonna disappear. You don't want to. That room is what you want to see. You don't want to see these giant 300 things sitting around. So.
Well, I'm glad he picked the 100s because that's what I'm gonna put in my room for surround. So interested to hear his feedback on that one.
And if you want to help out the show but can't support financially, we just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. And with that, it's going to wrap up another week of news here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.
I should have given Richard's decorating the pick of the week. Jesus.
Yeah, what a nice room.
I
what am I doing?
Something like that.
My life.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, no, it made me sit there in my room and just go, man, this place looks like crap. I need some
I live in a shithole.
This is the shittiest $1 million house I ever seen.
I knew my house was a dump, but we don't got to rub it in. Jeez.
It just looks so comfortable. Like, I know. I want to curl up on the couch and take a nap. Like,
and the dog's right in front of the fireplace, so when they turn that on, he gets warm. We need to roast him about the corner TV, though. Like, I'm surprised.
I think we already have
to do.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I could pick on.
He's smart, and he didn't put it above the fireplace, so.
At least he gets a TV in the room.
And it looks like a legit fireplace, like an actual wood-burning one, so putting a TV above there would be even more difficult.
All right, we're cutting this all out of the show, right?
No.
Because I don't want him to know I'm jealous.
It'll maybe show up at the end or something.
You gotta post your living room for comparison, Gavin.
Not even close. No, not even close.